Good, wonderful evening, everybody, and welcome to the final test session here this evening for GPVWC's 2014 Super League Championship thingamabobbles. My name is Simon Smith, and as ever, I'm not alone. I have Mr. Simon Malouche on cameras extraordinaire, and he'll be sitting with me for the next 2 hours so that we can have a chinwag, invite some guests from team managers to the drivers themselves who'll be taking part in the Super League this year, and having a good old natter. The action is currently going on out on track. We've had a test session going on for a wee while today, and it's Super League only around the wonderful Istanbul Park. Sadly missed from the old F1 calendar, but never forgotten here on GPVWC. As ever, it's a new year with new cars, new driver lineups, new teams, because obviously we've had a few swaps during the off-season with Vogbull Racing joining in, amongst others, and fresh faces too. But some things haven't changed, and sadly you've got my ugly mug. I've got a face for radio, and thankfully, face for broadcasting motorsport as well, because you'll never see my chops on screen, and that is all the better. Plus, you'll be noticing by our lovely mod, we haven't got those god ugly, awful dildo noses. Can't describe them any other way, really. Penetrating your pixelated screens. We have beautifully, aesthetically pleasing cars instead. And these cars have got a fair bit of grunt and a fair bit of grip to them. Apparently fastest out on track in this particular in the drivers who are in the session, because obviously it's been going on for a while, is Tom Jacobs on a 1:28.894 for Norge Zone. With Ben Horrell, Oskari Cantonen, Morten Wernersen and Tom Vandervoort, your top 5. We'll be having plenty of drivers popping in throughout, and if you are one of the drivers or team managers, you're more than welcome to pop in. We'll have a good old natter. We'll be joined very shortly by Lewis Redshaw, who will be who we know from our dastardly deeds from commentating on the ITC on the Mondays. This is really the first chance that we're going to be getting a glimpse of the 2014 Super League, and it's going to be a corker this year. It was a corker last year, and I was privileged and delighted to be commentating on it, and I'm delighted that you're going to be joining me today. So this is the 4th test of 4, shockingly enough. We've already had tests at Manicourt and the Nürburgring and Imola, if I believe, throughout January and February. And the 2014 calendar itself will kick off in Melbourne on the 27th of February. Ooh! Ooh! Joyous! Nice and early. We'll also be going to Sepang, Sakir, and visiting Austria, like the F1 calendar will be to Texas, so on and so forth. 17 rounds, looking like it's going to be going down right to the wire, and delightedly I am now joined by Lewis Redshaw.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you, friend?
I am very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Friend.
Thanks, friend.
Friend.
Ooh, friend.
Ooh, friend, commentator friend. Ooh, cameraman extraordinaire friend. Ooh,
No, I'm not as good as Simon.
No one's going to sigh. But you are majestic behind the cameras, but you're also a little bit majestical out on the old trackaroo as well, because you'll be lining up on the 2014 grid looking to capitalise on what was a really, really strong 2013 for you.
Looking might not be the correct word. It'd be nice if we could. The expectations for where we're going to be, obviously, this year, we're going to have to be quite realistic on how we're going to perform with the car being new and not having the banks of R&D points and money that other teams have, for example. But I'm sure that with Dave managing us, we can get somewhere near the top 10 by the end of the season. Hopefully, maybe get back to where it was last year.
To remind everyone, because Lewis Redshaw has joined a new team, I believe, into Formula Challenge. No.
Yeah, I've come down in the world.
Back down the bottom with me, mate. No, into Super League this year, and talk to us about the kind of challenges that does face you, because obviously new team and the way how GPVWC's structure is for the Super League, with points meaning prizes so long as you actually do the testing and put in the hard work, you really are starting like a real team would from scratch on your back foot.
Yeah, you do pretty much start at zero with the development points, which is what you need obviously to develop the car. You get a little budget from just to start up, but it's really not as much as some teams like obviously have from last year and previous years where they've been competing. So it is a bit more difficult, but it's all part of the fun, really. I mean, I was looking at myself last year and thinking, if I'm to stay with Hawkeye, I'm probably just going to get, the same sort of positions again, and I wanted to try something a bit different, so they've hooked me up with this seat, which I hope I won't regret.
He says. So what was it that really, really pushed you to go for CSG?
I've obviously known Dave for quite a while now, and we get on pretty well. I wouldn't say we get on brilliantly, but we get on pretty well. I know how organised he is and how much he loves spreadsheets, and to be honest, it was the spreadsheets that did it for me, because he just produces the most fantastic spreadsheets about things you wouldn't really care about, and I just thought I have to go for that.
What, name a spreadsheet? I'm intrigued.
Oh, I've got
now.
loads. You just wouldn't believe it. I mean, I've got one here that it's just all about the budgets and the points, and he's just so advanced with how he does things. So I went for that, really.
Excellent stuff. Well, and I suppose in a backwards way, that kind of makes you go, well, at least he's good behind the scenes and well organised, and I think that is something that's really, really valued, especially in Super League, because of the management elements. So I don't know if you're the best person to talk about it. We have got Dave about. I don't know if you wanted to speak either, to tell us a little bit about the points structure and how that affects things for Super League, because it's the big unique thing for GPVWC, and I'm aware that we might have some new people tuning in thinking, what's this league all about?
Dave?
I think he's silent.
Apparently I've got to talk. He'll be back in a second. You were asking about the point structure?
Yeah.
For all the development points and stuff like that.
Yeah, and how it works.
Yeah, so basically we have 4 pre-season tests, the last of which we're competing in now. And each driver in the team, so you've got 2 primaries and a reserve, each driver has to complete 250 kilometres, which then you have to work out in how many laps that is. And they have to be timed laps, obviously. And you have to do it for the last 2 tests under a certain lap time. And I think every lap you complete, you get something like 0.25 RD points, it's something like that. But at the end of the test, you get then your RD points for that test, and you can spend them on upgrading the car for the season ahead, or you could save them up and use them at some other point. But that's how it works. And we also have practice sessions that can be run alongside the main server for the reserve drivers this year, where they earn RD points in there for the team, whereas last year, obviously, we had it in the main server. But this year it's going to be separated so that only the reserve driver earns RD points throughout the year.
Fabulous, fabulous. And what are the types of things that you can upgrade on a car?
You've got downforce for the front wing, rear wing, and diffuser. You've got drag factors for each of those parts. Chassis weight. Then you've got, what else? You've got dirty air upgrades, which affect how it enables the car to behave better when you're following someone very closely. Then you've got the engine R&D side of it, because obviously we all have to have an engine this year, like last year. You have to choose that, so you're earning engine RD points at the same time. And then the team you're buying the engine off, they pay for the upgrades, points and money for the year ahead, so they also upgrade stuff. So it's there's a lot of upgrades in the cars and everything like that. It can get a bit confusing at times, so you just got to sort of get ahead of it. You can't fall back on it.
No, indeed. And I suppose as a driver, do you have any particular things that you think, actually, my driving's a little bit weaker on that side of things? So say like putting the power down on a throttle, so actually I'd quite like an engine upgrade to try and make up for that. As a driver, do you have much input in exactly where you try and steer the upgrades, or is that more down to the team manager?
Last year especially, we did with Hawkeye, we did a lot of testing on what upgrades we wanted at the time. This year, obviously, we have an input, but I mean, I trust Dave to know exactly what we need for the car. I'm sure when it gets a bit later down the line, we'll be testing properly, see which is the most beneficial. But it is a very important part, because obviously, else you could have like a 33% developed front wing and a 10% developed rear wing and diffuser, and your car is just going to be spinning everywhere because rear wing's just not going to be up to it to hold the car on the track with the sheer force that the front wing will pull in the car around. So you've got to sort of balance it, and that can be quite tricky as well because your designer has different sort of strong points, so they could develop a front wing quicker than they can develop the rear wing. So you've got to try and keep that in balance.
Reminds me very much of Grand Prix World and Grand Prix managers back from the 90s and the early noughties, with that little element. Only the fact that we actually get to go out and drive the bloody things afterwards.
Which is nice.
Oh yes, oh yes. So, going ahead from the first race that's coming up in Old Melbournia. Melbourne, I always find, is a little bit of a false dawn because it's the track that always gets the most testing done prior because everyone's ready to go for the start of the season and everyone's normally it's like the place where you're at your best, I suppose, and everyone's at their best at the very beginning in terms of dedication, I think, going into a season. But what would you say is going to be a realistic expectation for Monsieur Louis Redshaw?
Well, our main expectation for the season, and therefore Melbourne, is to beat the other two new teams. So we want to beat Target Racing and Vaudeville Racing, and I'm sure you'll hear about those later on. That's our aim, really. But I think we might be able to get a point in Melbourne if all goes well, hopefully. If not, then I'm just walking.
And a point still going down to 15?
I believe so.
Yes,
I hope so, because if not, we really are screwed.
There's a quick little thing in there from Dave, who I hope
He's
will get
back,
on the air in a smidge. Your driver currently at the moment, David Fidduck, is out on track for CSG doing a Fidduck. I think Fido the dog. There we go. Always chasing the lap time like a bone.
Wow.
There we go. But he is currently 12 seconds off. The pace on a 1:41.764, just getting accumulated to the car, and there is a certain amount of sandbagging going on. Although preferably you should put some of those sandbags back in the UK and around some of the River Thames, because I feel it's going to burst some more of its banks. We do have, though, Dave Carr-Smith in the room, and I don't know if you're up for a quick chinwaggaroo.
Hello. Can do.
Oh,
He sounds so nervous.
Oh, you should be bold. You should be bold. Now as team boss for CSG, Lewis was just talking about the expectations and the way how you come into a new season as a new team and the disadvantages and the challenges that brings. What for you is going to be the biggest challenge you'll think CSG will have this year?
Being able to afford the things that we need is obviously the biggest challenge. For me personally, going from helping out with the midnight management, you could buy and put anything you wanted on the car whenever you wanted. And now we've gone to CSG where we've got limited budget, limited RD points. It's really difficult to prioritise what you need in the order that you need it so that you best spend the resources you have available.
Do you think that stability is better than overall performance, or would you like somewhere a little bit in the middle, or would you prefer to go for a car that is all out, flat out, engine powered down the straight and hope for the best when it comes to the corners and trust your drivers?
Well, the nice thing this year is that the engine is separate to the main RD, so whilst we're in control of the main engine, the main car development, Midnight, who are providing our engines for this year, handle all of the engine side, so that's not something we've got to worry about too much. But in terms of what we want to do with the car development, obviously you want to try and keep it nice and balanced, especially with the chance of rain and stuff. You really don't want a car that's difficult to drive. It may be quick, but if the drivers can't drive it consistently, you're not going to get anywhere.
Indeed, as a little bit of rain starts to fall on a track, and that may cause some of the drivers a little bit of a trouble keeping it out on the track. Who done your livery? That livery looks quite swisheroo.
Sean Stroud, once again, he does it every year. A little bit different for this year, gone with the white for the first time since 2009. Looks a little bit odd at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get used to it soon enough.
Yeah, definitely. No, I like the graffiti element of it, and it reminds me of Braun shagged a Jaguar only under a a bus stop. In a good way. In a good way. Actually, do you know what it does remind me more of? Actually, the 1993 Lotus. When it's coming head on.
Is anyone here that old?
Just about.
Do it. Johnny Herbert done wonders with that car. Lastly, just on a general thing, obviously the league growing out into 4 specific things now, with proper grids for Formula Challenged on its 40 limit, and then we've got the open season and all of that kind of stuff kicking off. What to you do you think is a strong quality for someone that's coming into the league, so that they can then be they can stand out and be brought up through the ranks, as it were? What do you look for?
I think the thing right now for anyone that's joining is the commitment factor. I mean, the past couple of years we've had drivers that turn up and after 2-3 races they just disappear. You don't hear from them again. Not so much lately. It's been getting better. But for any new drivers coming in, that's all a team manager can really ask for, is that you're committed, you turn up to your races and you give it your best.
Watching a little mini scrap going out on track, actually. Tom van der Voort in the Nijo and Ben Horrell in the Red Archer VRT, and trading places around their hot laps. Someone would think it's a Grand Prix looking at those two. Good to see the fighting spirit out there. And both actually from Dave and from Lewis. It sounds like you've counted yourselves out from big championships and big wins. Who do you think are looking strong for taking the constructors and the drivers' titles? And do you have any dark horses out there that you think are the ones to watch? Apart from yourselves, obviously.
Midnight, I think will win it again. I just don't see how anyone's going to stop them. Especially as well now. I mean, I'm not taking anyone from Alex. He's a brilliant driver, but I mean now they've got Giuseppe as well. I just don't see anyone beating them. The dark horse, I think Rude might be up there, but I mean Torrent, I think this year could maybe, hopefully, do something about Midnight. Obviously last year they had the undeveloped car, especially for the first half of the season, and once they got into a swing of things, they were just unstoppable. So hopefully, I'm sure Simon Munowish is loving this, they can sort of take the fight to them a bit.
Yeah, I don't think the teams can be called at all between Midnight, Torrent and Nijo. That's going to be really close. Maybe even Norwegian if Canapino and Toby Davis, who was announced last week, if they turn up regularly, they could be a strong contender as well. Drivers, again, it's going to be really close between all the drivers for those teams, although I'm really interested to see what Baldy can do for Hawkeye.
Interesting. Everyone going for slightly different things, which is great, because I think that shows the pre-season jitters that actually, in some ways, a lot of people don't really know exactly what's going on. That's the beauty of the build-up, I guess. And, I've got 101 minutes left to go in this test session so far. Of the drivers that are in the server at the moment, Tom Jacobs is still leading on a 1:28.894, just 2 tenths ahead of Bart de Vos, who's moved into second for the Red Bull Vodbull Racing. Sorry, and a not very red car. It didn't take me that long to make that mistake, but yes, I'd much prefer a Vodbull over the coloured variety. Red Archer VRT for Ben Horrell is in third, ahead of Oskari Kantanen for Hawkeye in fourth. Then just 1.1 seconds off the pace in Tom Vanderval for Nijo in fifth, ahead of Tommy Kovanen for Green Stripes, who's currently in the pits in sixth. Matt Richards, 7 in the rather yellowly, beautifully done Kernow Sports, 7th, and they had a real topsy-turvy time at the last year, and seemed to end on a high with Lee Morris joining them, and he's was shooting earlier on about a multi-year deal, almost like a multi-pack of cereals, one for every day of the month, and that could be the foundations of a real resurge of that team. David Johnson in 8th position in the second of the Nijos. Adam Rouse in 9 for Torrent Motorsports. Rousey was on the grid last year and then kind of disappeared off and came back towards the end again, I think. But he needs to see what he can do. Then the other people that have done the time, David Fiduk for CSG, Petter Kassa for Torrent Motorsports is now out on track again, despite being 18 seconds off with his fastest lap. And they are your 11, currently toodling round at the moment. Still, Ben and Tom have their little scrap out on track. Like they're like little Rottweilers side by side round turn 8.
Wish I got to do some of that in this testing crap.
So why are you not out there at the minute?
Because I finished for the day. I did my laps about 10:30 and finished about 12ish. And because I knew I'd be drinking, so it'd be a bit silly to do my laps.
What are you drinking?
Bulmers.
Yum yum. Always Bart DeVos Pop's top. Or
That's good. I can change Tom Jacobs' description on the TeamSpeak now.
Second. Yes. Of the calendar that we've got coming up, are there any particular races that you're looking forward to, Lewis?
Spa, obviously. Canada again, because I think we could do something there. And Abu Dhabi as well, which was probably one of my best races last year. If I can sort of use the same sort of tactics we did there, then you never know what's going to happen. But I think we've obviously got to focus on races like Monaco and Canada for sort of good results, because the cars don't matter as much as perhaps they would on higher speed circuits that have got more corners also.
Sure. I don't suppose you'd have any estimation on exactly how big a gap it would be between a fully developed car and a completely undeveloped car?
5 seconds.
5 seconds? Wow.
It's about that. We scaled back the base car a little bit this year compared to last year, so it's a little bit tighter. It's not quite as much scope for time gain, but it's still quite a hefty margin.
That's really interesting, actually, because that strikes that balance between where different cars and teams will go down different paths, and obviously it all works to their advantage on some tracks, less on others, but there's still enough leeway in there for the driver to still make a big chunk of difference. So, my appetite is whetted. All dripping.
Oh, lovely.
So, hopefully we'll get some other drivers and team managers popping into the old chatter room at the moment. If you've got any questions for Lewis or Dave whilst they're in the room at the moment, please send me a tweet. I am at Satorimon, or you could tweet with the hashtag GPVWC as well. Do love getting all of your questions and comments and everything and stuffs. Interesting for Calvin Herms popped a tweet on earlier on saying 26-ish time laps done, finally a race trim, and for once there was no sliding, crashing or spinning. Unique.
We were all very disappointed actually with that. It ruined our drinking game.
Well, that's just disgraceful.
I know, but it is true. Interesting point to mention, I haven't seen Sam Miller yet today, so we've only got an hour and a half left, so I don't know when Kerno...
It would appear that Matt Richards is on the server for Kerno.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that, so there you are then. Has anyone not turned up today, Dave?
I don't believe so. I think everybody's turned up.
That's alright then. I was just worried then.
Although I have heard that maybe Matthew Allington hasn't completed his full amount of laps for Woods.
Well, he's in the... Oh, he was in the chat room up the top when I entered in for this broadcast, so he needed to get himself back out there again.
Oh, he lost connection. TeamSpeak, so I presume the same happened in game.
Ah, okay. And how much is the penalty for that then? Say if he completes, I don't know, 5-10 laps less, how many RD points will they then lose out, roughly?
You're getting about half an RD point per kilometre, and this one is about 5 kilometres long. So you're looking roughly 3 RD points per kilometre, which is the equivalent to 1% of development. So it does add up if you keep missing an amount. It might not seem like a lot just for 3-5 laps, but it's still potential gains lost.
I remember that being a big thing last year, actually, where people were desperately driving to get the last couple of laps in the practice session to make sure they could get their RD points pulled up. And some people were really struggling with that, going, "Oh, I'm just going round and round and round and round." But I think you forget to see the long-term gains on that as well, because it does snowball. It does snowball. But De Vos again has gone quicker, so he's now down into 1:28.525s. Wouldn't it be nice to get this Turkish track back on the calendar?
Yes.
I love... Oh. And France.
Thank you, Simon. We've done France.
Ben Warren has tweeted in, "Woods curse, that is all."
Well, I was going to say it was Woods curse, and I thought I'd get shouted at by a Woods driver, so I didn't.
Well, no one can really shout at Ben Warren.
Well, you can, but it's just not advisable.
Run you over. But yeah, all good stuff there. And I can't remember, what's Ben Warren doing this year actually, just off topic? Is he racing anything in particular?
He's reserved for Woods.
Ah,
I don't know what is he doing, Super Cup or Formula Challenge? I think isn't he with RTS, Formula Challenge?
I honestly can't remember.
In a launch video somewhere, hang on, I'll have a look.
Oh,
Yeah, he must be, because he's reserved for multiples on the Super Cup.
we've just had a question in from Ben Willis. "Hi, watching and have a question. With sandbagging still here, even with minimum time, do the league plan more action for future tests?"
No. What we've done since the first two tests is we've put in place a minimum time. The minimum time is calculated so that if the track was 100% wet, it is still possible for drivers to meet that minimum target time. What you're seeing the likes of Petter and David doing right now isn't sandbagging. What they're doing is going slower, so that they use less tyre and less fuel, and they can complete their RD gaining laps in one run, which saves them money.
Not sandbagging in any way. I mean, we have nothing to hide pace-wise. We could go out there now and do whatever we wanted. It's just getting it done in one run because it saves us time. It saves us money. It's just people who say sandbagging. I go out with the same fuel everyone else does. You just take better care of it.
Lovely. Thank you for that. Because I just went sandbagging, but then I've not got a budget to play with for tyres, fuel, so on and so forth. So makes good sense. There you go. I hope that's solved your question there, Ben. And yes, RTS going for the wooden spoon challenge, says Ben Warren. So that's why we know what he's up to. You can't have more wooden spoons than I'm going to have this year.
Well, no, you're going to win the championship because everyone's voted you are. Yeah, and those polls are always really correct.
Well,
you better not let it down.
It may be the people's vote for the hard trier.
You get an award. We'll give you an award at the end of the year.
Poor me and Chris Knight struggling to... Well, we didn't get under 5 seconds from the fastest time in our sessions in the end. Although, to my defence, I'm pretty sure that I accidentally loaded an old setup of my Xbox 360 controller because the gear buttons to press were in the wrong place. So I do need to sit and sort that all out, which may gain me, half a tenth.
It might explain some of the steering inputs we saw from you on Tuesday night then.
No, steering inputs will always be like that. But it's been really funny actually. Just whilst it's a wee bit quiety. When I first joined Simracing back in 2008, and I was playing on the keyboard, yes I know, I'd got so used to driving like that when I then changed to the gamepad, I was worse for a few races than what I was on the keyboard. And then when I changed to a wheel, I just couldn't gain even more of the time back. And I suppose if I just actually invested proper time in it, I would be faster. But that requires... I'm committed and I would spend lots of time having fun, but I don't have the competitive drive to go, oh my god, I must win, I must win, I must win. So I'm not going to invest hours and hours and hours at my wheel just yet. But
I think you should.
But yeah, I will do at some point, because what it does seem to be is that year on year, as these mods get more complex and more complicated, is that actually my Xbox controller driving is cutting it less and less, and I'm getting further and further away from the ultimate pace. I used to be just like 2.5, 3 seconds off on good days. Now I'm delighted if I'm within 5. So there's something to be said for that, about the complexity of how these mods have become and how everyone's chasing the ultimate pace, and probably the amount of effort that people put in a GPVWC league.
User in your channel timed out.
Lewis has clearly had enough. Ben Horrell just slowing to a crawl over the start-finish line, still 3rd position on his run, still 11 drivers in the server. Bart pops out for a quick second. Hopefully he'll come join us for a wee chatteroo. And you're very welcome, Ben. Your answer to your question. Polite young man. Anyway. The old Super League up at the front end of the grid certainly is all about the competition. Unlike me, who does chase the wooden spoon. It must be very difficult, actually, to go into a season thinking, oh dear God, I might not be doing very well. Very beginning, we're just lining up our first person to pop in, and it is Lucas Euler. Hey Lucas, how you doing?
Hello, Simon. I'm fine. Thank you.
Are you still wearing your crown, and do you have your trophy on your mantelpiece?
All the time. It will never go down again.
I bet it goes down well in nightclubs.
Sometimes.
You like to hold my trophy. So, we've had a fair bit of running with the old testy session so far. How's the 2014 car suiting you so far?
I think it's a nice improvement over the last season's car. I think the areas that weren't maybe ideal have been improved, so I like the car a bit more than last year's. So yeah, looking good.
Would you say that plays into your hands for defending your crown?
It's not a bad thing, that's for sure.
And how do you get round on the testing? Do you enjoy testing?
I actually liked when they introduced the minimum time, because, like Dave and Lewis explained earlier, when we tried to do it in one run, it can get a bit boring. So having a time to target and not beat is something to make you enjoy it a bit more. But I'm happy testing's over now, and we're gonna get some racing in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it really has come round really quick. I didn't realise it was 2 weeks until I started this broadcast. I meant Melbourne's in February, so. Are you feeling ready then, by the sounds of it?
Yeah, I think the winter break was long enough now, so everyone's eager to put the gloves down and go racing.
And what do you make of your new teammate?
Well, obviously, I had a great teammate last year and the year before. It's always nice to have a different person working with you, just to get different ideas and maybe a new guy to push you. So Giuseppe is impressive so far. I think he's a quick guy and gonna produce some interesting races.
Have you done much working together so far on the testing, so that you can see who's got the strengths in what area and who's got weaknesses?
We've done a bit of testing, but I did a lot of pre-season testing last year, and it was probably a bit too much. So I cut it down a bit this year, just to maybe keep the breath longer during the season.
Give other people a chance, Lucas. That's what you need to do. Thanks. So, when it comes to Melbourne, where do you think that Midnight will be?
Well, with the changes in the development this year, I think we're going to see probably quite an interesting Melbourne race. Obviously, everyone expects us to be like miles ahead, which I'm not sure yet that it will happen. So I'm preparing for everything right now. So it should be interesting.
Just whilst we've got Lewis and Dave in the room, Lucas obviously covering all bases and saying, "I don't think we will be out in front." Does that give you guys any extra hope?
No.
Bless. But then I suppose it must be very difficult actually, Lucas, because where you won last year, everyone's expecting Midnight to be flat out the blocks, like, oh, look at us 1-2, la 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 la, lapped half the field by lap 10 or whatever. If you come out and you finish second, that's still an amazing result. And I wonder if you'll be like, oh, I'm a little bit disappointed that we finished second, especially because it's race 1. How do you approach a race like that?
Well, come race day, we all know what the cars of everyone is like. So, I'm happy with the race when I know I did all I could have. When I finish second, then that's okay. As long as I know that's the maximum I could have done. Obviously, there can always be some circumstances which put you further behind, which then is a bit frustrating. But second for me is not lost. And I think, as I said before, I think people overestimate Midnight a bit, because we've seen last year that it wasn't that big of a gap like in 212. Already at the start last season, we've had the best car, yes, but the gap was pretty small. And I think with the changes this year, it's going to be even a bit smaller. So I think guys like Torrent, Nijo, maybe Hawkeye with Baldi, they're going to be very close.
Do you have anyone in particular that you're thinking, I think you're going to end up being my nemesis for this year?
We can never rule out the Torrent guys. They've been a pain already last year, so they won't stop this year.
Dope. Ah, boo. And any words of wisdom to anyone who's kind of looking at Super League and have seen what you've done last year and the year before, and have gone, I quite fancy getting up to Super League. What would you say is the main piece of advice you'd give them?
I think some people shouldn't, of course I'm the one talking, but I think some people shouldn't be afraid to start in a maybe worse car in Super League, but show that they have the will to push through and always show the best, compared to some people then just go into Super Cup because they have equal cars and try to show it there. For me personally, I would rate someone personally higher who tries to give everything he has in a worse car.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Lucas. I don't know if you've got the opportunity to stay around for another couple of minutes. If anyone has any questions for Lucas, please send them to me at Turamon or with the hashtag GPVWC, and I'll be sure to read them out if Lucas is about to hold on. We're also joined by Monsieur Roy Schroten. Hello, Roy.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Just busy with the pre-season testing, but that's all done now, so that's happy.
And how did you find it? How was you out there?
It was great to do the first pre-season testing for me in my career. It's fun, but it's a little bit boring. I try to do the I tried to do the sandbagging once, but yeah, I almost fell asleep, so I'm not going to do that probably. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
And how do you find the 2014 cars over last year? Because you joined very late into the end of the season, and you surprised a lot of people with what you was able to do with a car that hadn't really shone massively up until that point. And a lot of people kind of went, "Ooh, surprise!" And kind of you outdone yourself at the end of last year. Going into this year, do you feel the car suits you better, and what are your expectations with that?
Well, I liked last year's car better, but I don't know, maybe with the new updates it's better, I think it is. The field for this year is really a lot stronger than last year, so I don't really know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy the car. I've driven it a bit more now, so I know it a bit better, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great stuff. I'm just going to dive back to Lucas for a second. We've had one question come in. From Lewis Redshaw and James Shepherd. Ask Lucas how mad he was at Nick last week. I don't even know what that applies to. I'm sure that there will be punches afterwards.
I wasn't proud. I wasn't proud.
Proud is the right word, yeah.
I have a feeling there's coming together.
Oh,
No,
did you not see it?
No, well, not unless it was ITC-age.
No, it was Superleague test last week. Nick was trying to do all of his laps in one run, like Lucas had suggested. And then Nick was caught up in an accident that wasn't really his fault and lost his front wing and then just went off in turn 2 in Magny-Cours in the most spectacular fashion. And just, yeah, Lucas wasn't very happy after that.
Aww.
It wasn't too bad though. There have been moments where I was where it was worse for me. And for others.
Pick up the pieces. Dolts. Back to Roy, actually, whilst we still got you here. It's great to have people in the chat rooms. Come join drivers and team managers of Super League. We love having all of your input and opinion, especially as we have 77 minutes of joyous times with the Simeon Smythe and Lewis Redshaw and Simon Malouche. So, Mr. Troughton,
Yeah.
who's your teammate this year?
It's Danny. Yeah.
Danny?
I
Danny
have to look
Asbury.
up his back name.
Ah! I
Don't
thought you
worry,
said
Roy, I
Denny.
know.
Asbury.
I thought you said Denny as in like the fast food restaurant Denny's. I was
No,
like,
no,
wow,
I wish.
he's bringing the whole restaurant along.
Oh, that would be good, but we wouldn't be as fast then. But no, Danny, I don't know really much about him, but he seems like a good guy, so should be okay.
Have you done much testing or working together so far?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much, but we will for the Melbourne, so it's going to be okay. I hope.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And obviously, Melbourne in just 2 weeks' time. It's come around very, very quick this season. What would be your kind of would be good if result?
Oof. Well, I know that in the beginning I wanted to score some points, but I've changed that a little bit now. But when I saw the whole lineup of the drivers, but I still hope for some points. But I just hope to finish and get the best out of the car, and just have some fun.
Oh, it's like Minardi travelled through you. I love that.
I hope we'll get a qualification for Verstappen then.
Nice. That could be your new teammate this year. Although if he keeps beating up women, I don't think he'll be allowed out on track. Oh, there we go. A new question for Lucas. We'll ask Roy as well, actually. How are you finding the new intermediate tyres? Will they help you adapt to the wet conditions?
I actually haven't tested it thoroughly yet.
Me neither. So.
Well, that's just disgraceful. Everyone, make the track soggy biscuit right now. Get them all out. So, sorry, James. No idea.
They're
but
not that different. They are.
Does that mean that
I
they...
tested them.
Good for you.
Okay, go for it,
Yeah.
Lewis. Go for it.
The intermediate tyres work from I think as we worked out, about 5% sort of onwards. You can go to quite wet weather on them as well. So it's definitely going to make it interesting this year. However, it might ruin the show a bit because last year you had to go round on the slick tyres till about 17%, and then obviously everyone was just sliding around. Whereas this year we're probably not going to have that because everyone will just be on the. But they're still quite slidey with these engines we've got, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Great, yeah, because I remember, albeit in the Formula Challenged, I wouldn't change to wet tyres until I saw 20 or above. So that kind of was my personal cut-off line. And my goodness me, there was more skids than, I don't know, a Tots TV channel. It was very wrong. But no, sorry about that, James. But at least Lewis gave it a go for you.
Wasn't a brilliant answer, I'm not going to lie.
Well, it was you.
Wow!
Poor Lulu. Who do you think will be your main rivals this year, Roy?
I think the Phoenix guys can be up there. I don't know really what they're going to do with the car, but Ryan is a good guy. Also the football guys, I think, might be around us, but I've really no idea how it's going to be during the race and how fast we can be compared to the others. So I think we'll just have to wait and give the best of ourselves and see where we end.
Oh, positivity. I need to have you as like a little morning mantra, so that when I get up in the morning, you just have that on repeat. Followed by probably Tom Vanderpool on the way to work, just going, "It's okay. Do not psych out. Do not punch anyone on a train." And then
I'm happy I haven't seen him on the train, so...
I think that'd be a terrifying thing if you ever did see him on a train.
Yeah.
me on a train, or Tom on a train, or
Oh, both of you on a train.
Both of us on the same train.
Oh, God. Don't want to think about that.
No. There's only one train I quite like, and that's not for this broadcast.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So, why aren't you buying Toki Tori?
I have one. I have Tokitori 1, not 2 though. So I think it's better for me not to get it, because then I won't be testing any Super League anymore. I would just play that game all day.
Ah. Anyone that doesn't know, Toki Tori 2 is on 75% off on Steam, and it's stupid cutesy platformer game that Calvin Herms and myself have slightly obsessed about for a little bit.
Yeah, I got it from Calvin, so I want to thank him. He's ruining... he's just trying to beat me in this way, so...
Just trying to distract you from ever going out on track ever again.
Yeah.
I don't know what is just gone on in the old trackaroo. Someone moved position. Oh, it's Cantonen has moved into the 128s. That's why. We do have, though, just very, very quickly, he's a bit reluctant, but we'll bring him in just because he is our cameraman extraordinaire, Tarrant Motorsports boss Simon Malouche. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Apparently.
Malouche.
Doesn't it change every week anyway?
It
That's
does.
Dave, he named me.
He named you. Dave, your father.
I'm Lewis's.
No, Lewis is.
No.
So the downhill begins as Liberia just goes a tenth faster than Horrell, moves up into second and third positions. So that's all
They're
joyous.
Dan, not Dad.
So you'll never live that down.
No,
So
probably not.
Torrent were picking up some amazing results, and Jim and Petter were doing 1-2s and trading wins for each other and nearly came to blows several times. Did you have any fingernails left at the end of last season? And B, have they regrown, and how do you feel for this year?
No, because I was busy doing the broadcast, so I didn't always get to see it all.
Oh.
And for this season, I don't know, we overspent a bit last season. The plan was to just dawdle around, but the wonderful drivers they are, they turned out to be quick, so I'd stopped paying money to buy upgrades for them.
You always sound like you were begrudging.
Yeah.
So, I suppose what you're thinking, dawdle around at the back, get a nice big cash cow going, and then you can splash out on every upgrade possible this year, so that you could be in a competitive position.
Well, not necessarily this year, it was more of a long-term plan, but they turned out to be quite good with a bad car, so we had to keep upgrading the car because they were in the title hunt for half the season.
They were indeed. And as Kenny Lybeer now goes fastest with a 1:28.568 compared to everyone else out on track. Now you've got the same lineup for this season. So well proven, well tested and well known drivers. Torrent itself as a name, with your brand has consistently been known as front runners for evers and evers and evers. What are your expectations, if you have any, for this year?
I don't know. With the new upgrade system, it's hard to tell. Like, we'd like to be fighting for championships, but I don't feel we've got the funds to do it this season.
And just go back to you, Dave. You was talking about funds as well. How tight are the funds for 2014? Because it seems to be a recurring theme.
This year, a lot more. When we were reviewing the things ahead of putting the systems in place for this year, we realised that the past 2 years teams were getting away with just spending whatever they liked. There were no consequences for splashing out on the R&D and stuff. So this year we've made it much tighter. We've upped the costs for fuel, for transport, for R&D, for everything. And I believe from rumours I've heard it's biting some teams already. You've had teams like ST Racing not bringing a car to pre-season tests to save money.
Right.
So it's already catching out some dodgy management with the finances.
How very Lotus of them. Bless. I suppose everywhere in the world now has been hit by the recession, even GPVWC. So, and I was talking earlier on to Lewis actually about whether or not the drivers have an input. Your drivers, Si, are very. They were neck and neck all season, and you couldn't throw a blank. Well, you could throw a blanket over them, but I don't think they'd really have wanted that. That must be difficult. Do they have relatively similar driving styles so that you can control exactly where the development goes, or do you have to consciously think, I'm not quite sure which way to go, and try and balance the two?
Yeah, they drive exactly the same setup. They drive pretty much the same. Literally, one setup works with both drivers. They're like robots.
AI bots going around. Cool. And Lucas and Roy, actually, how much do you do on the driver setup side of things, and how much input do you put into the R&D side?
Well, with Midnight, we've always had the drivers have always had an influence on the R&D, but usually my teammates don't really get along with my setup. I tend to have a very different driving style to most, so it's always a bit more difficult with me.
And Roy?
After the testing we talked about how the car felt, and in that way we tried to update the car to our likings, and we think we got it. But as to setups, I'm not really a setup guy. So I'm starting to learn it though, so it's getting better. But luckily I have Danny near me, so he can help me with it, and yeah.
And just touching on that, as someone that struggles perennially with setups, what are the things that you're specifically looking at to learn first? Because there's an awful lot to play with.
I'm trying to learn how to set a car up for corners, especially. I'm starting to get it though. In the ITC I had a breakthrough, and I don't know.
Hallelujah.
I don't know if it's going to work for the Superleague car, but I'm going to test that, and we'll see. So
I wouldn't put an ITC setup on an SL car. I really wouldn't. Even I know not to do that.
well, it can't be worse than the ITC. So
Worth a try.
At least it might have some yaw in it, maybe, I don't know. And actually, just diving back whilst my brain farts constantly to the cash cow problem. Dave, is there any... Can you actually bankrupt the team and therefore not be able to take part at all?
You can bankrupt the team. However, once you go below 0, you effectively become managed by the league in that you're restricted from doing a lot of things. You can't do free practice, you can't do warm-up, you can't order any more R&D at all. So you become a much more tightly controlled team. And whilst you won't be forced to withdraw from that, it will mean that when you get your prize money and the TV money, for want of a better word, at the end of the season, you have that minus figure still. So you get a much smaller starting budget for the following year than if you had ended up in the positive.
Cool. I want to be a team boss in SL. That sounds amazing. I want to do it. Mr. Miller, whoosh, as I change your name yet again, what do you look at when you're spying on drivers in lower leagues without wanting to make you sound a little bit like a paedophile?
Well, I've never looked for fast drivers. Obviously, faster drivers are better in the short term, but in the long term, I'd rather have a driver that was committed to working with our current crop of drivers to gain experience and maybe make himself faster and becoming a front runner in whichever series he shall be racing in.
User was moved to your channel.
And I was just trying to work out what car that was that you've just sent me a picture of, Lewis. Is that
It's the Kerno, it's just been released.
Fabulous live picture? Not on your screen, but on mine. The new Kerno, not looking like that beautiful test yellow that's out on track, which reminds me of the old Colony of 1990 something. Well, however, speaking of Kerno, we have a certainly Morris in the room. Hey, Lee.
Oh yeah, I actually think that's perfect timing.
It was.
That was very good.
Opportunistic.
Was indeed, and I've already mentioning the fact that you've signed up for a multi-loaf deal. Buy one get it's like a bog off offer. Buy one get one free, isn't it? You came in. You started off in one team last year, went away for a little bit, came back and gave Kernow the boost that they so very desperately needed towards the end of that season because it was all looking a little bit soggy. And you've decided to stay on. What was the main driving force for that?
Well, my initial choice wasn't to stay on with Kernow, as people know. I did try and get in with Midnight and things like that, you know, trying to get in with a team that had a good car. Failing that, I thought Mark Wicks deserves, you know, someone who's going to stick with him, because I think, like you say, he's had a lot of trouble in that. You know, finding drivers that are consistent and stick with the team. I can't really say that about myself, obviously, because I've gone through many teams in GPV, but this time I do get on really well with Mark, so I thought, why not?
Ah, and obviously you gave them a good points boost to the end of the year. How important was that in being able to get you some much needed points and therefore prize money to be able to carry through that rise through to 2014?
Well, that was the case. Obviously, just trying to get the best results we could, because the more money we earned, the better for this year. And I think Kernow's been around for a long time, obviously, so it should have a decent bank account anyway. I'm not too sure about stuff. Well, I am, but I can't say.
Oh, you can.
So,
no one's listening.
I think it's decently funded, let's say. It's just a case now of building it up. I mean, I don't think this year will be anything special. Although the new regulations in GPV help teams that aren't as well equipped as, say, Midnight to stay somewhere nearabouts the front of the pack, because last year I don't think we'll see what we saw last year and the year before, where round one Midnight or another team will turn up with 5,000 upgrades and be 3 seconds a lap faster. I hope not anyway. I'm hoping that it'll be more spread out over the season now, and looking at the R&D the way it works now, I think that'll be the case, hopefully.
Ah, fabulousness. Sorry, I was having a quick gulp of orange juice at the same time. What do you make of the 2014 car? That's the big question we've been asking everyone this evening.
I've got to be honest, so far I absolutely love it. I don't know how other people are saying they feel about the car, but ever since I stepped in the car at Imola for the first lap, I went straight to Dave, and he'll vouch for that as well. Straight to Dave, I just said, I love this car. It's like the car you've been after and I've been dreaming of for the last 5 years. Whenever a mod comes out in a league, you think, right, please suit me this year. You know, please give me a chance to work with my style this year. And normally it's always a car that's got masses of front end understeer, which is one thing I really struggled with last year in this mod. Many people would say the same thing. It had like a massive tank front end. It was ridiculously weighed down. This year they've got rid of that. The traction's brilliant. The throttle's nice. It's very responsive to the foot. You know, you don't have to like tread water before you can put the throttle down too much. The power band's very nice, which obviously helps the traction. The front end is just incredible. You turn it and it works. You know, I mean, that's what you want as a driver. Is I can brake and turn it at the same time, and it works. It's brilliant.
And despite you've said how much you're loving the car and loving driving it, yet you're still kind of being quite muted on your chances.
That's purely down to I don't know if we're still fastest in this test today. I think we are. Yeah, we are. We're still fastest by 4/10. And the first test we could have gone much faster, and I was 8th fastest. The rain came down during my session. The second test I was fastest, and the third test we were 2nd fastest. It looks like we're going to end this test fastest unless someone puts something special towards the end. So that's positive, but we all know that this is testing, and testing, people sandbag. I mean, you've got Euler way down, you've got all them guys way down the back. They're sandbagging, they can go a lot faster, we all know that, but it's nice and it's a positive vibe to end the test fastest. But the season itself, I think it'll be a different story because, as I said before, I don't think we've got the resource to keep up with, say, pace of development like Midnight and so on, and Torrent as well.
But it must still be a nice boost to kind of go, yeah, we're fastest. La, 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 la.
Well, that's the idea, innit? I mean, it just keeps morale up and everyone gets happy. You know, I mean, Sam's coming back into the team. He wants to see that we're going to do well, obviously, and Mark Wicks, it makes him feel good. And obviously, this year the aim, I mean, we got the first podium for Kerno last year at Spa. The aim this year has got to be to try and get the first win. I don't think we can challenge for the championship, but as you know, I'll get a good go and we'll just see what happens. But the main thing is, I just want to enjoy the racing, really.
Great stuff, and that's what we're all here for, to enjoy the racing. I think sometimes that gets a wee bit lost in the meantime. Just what they're all coming in now. Now, for the second half of this broadcast, we can get some right good shindigging going on. We've just been joined by, first of all, Jordan Weeks, who's for the second new team that we've interviewed this evening, Target. Welcome, Jordan.
Hello.
How's it been for you? Because obviously, new team, fresh new start after what was a topsy-turvy 2013 for yourself, if you don't mind me saying so, and if you do, it's a bit late now. How are you looking at 2014?
I'm looking, I just want to have fun the whole year. Much really I can do.
Any particular expectations of where you think Target will be? Because we know that it's difficult for a new team to get going, but a few people now have said that rules are making it a little bit easier for new teams to make an impression straight away.
For this season, I think it is easier, but then China onwards, it's going to get a lot harder for us to get the results. I mean, teams like even the midfield teams will just pull away from us.
Who do you think will end up being your main rivals?
Our main rivals, in my opinion, is that.
Just cut out at the wrong time there. It was like, the main rivals are going to be that
CSG,
team because they're just CSG. Did you say?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Ooh, battle of the new teams. It's all like this is going to be the new battle for 10th place in the constructors' championship. I can tell it already. I can. And the other team that may well be included in that battle for 10th place in the Constructors, just going on last year's form, may be ST. And we've got Calvin Herms in the Chatteroo box to talk with us about that. How's it been for you so far? Because I saw you tweeting earlier on that you got 26 timed laps in. And you look pretty happy with yourself.
Yeah, I didn't crash off, so...
That's a good expectation.
It's a bit of a learning path, these past few tests, and I'm seeing improvement, so I'm happy.
And ST had a really it was not the best of years for 2013 for ST. Got some good results towards the end after not looking like scoring at all earlier on. What are your expectations for 2014?
I just want the team to do better than last year, and if we can score more points than last year, then I'm happy.
And what about personally for yourself? Is there any particular place where you'd really like to see yourself? Are you aiming for regular points? Are you looking for top 10s?
I'd like to be ahead of my teammates, and that's pretty much all that counts to me.
Who's your teammate?
Mark Fuller.
Laid down gauntlet right there, peeps.
Oh, Simon, I've got to ask you, has Roy bought Tokitori yet?
No. No, not yet.
Oh,
The most important issue of the evening.
Might gift it to him on the old Steam Maroon. Especially because they gifted me a copy for PS1 to review. Of Tokitori 1 to review for the PlayStation. So if I can ask them for another one, I will gift it to you, Mr. Schroten.
Thank you. I already gifted him the first one, so he's getting a collection now.
Awesome stuff. Okay, so do you find, Jordan, from last year to this year, is the car suiting your driving style a bit better, or is it taking a bit more getting used to?
Doesn't really feel any different from last season. Of course, the rear end's a bit more all over the place, but that's due to the fact that there's less downforce on the rear. But overall, still feels similar.
You're the first person to say that. Everyone else has said about how different it is. I suppose it's down to driving styles, I guess. But...
Pretty much.
And have you tried the new intermediate tyres?
I have.
Ah! Well, what do you think?
They're alright.
Lee?
They're a bit Pirelli-ish for me.
As in exploding after a couple of laps?
Yeah, in other words, they last about 3 laps and then there's no grip. I wish we could have had the Bridgestone intermediates, I really do. I used to love them. Nah, they're not bad. They're not bad.
Do you remember when tyres didn't used to be the second word on everyone's lips after, after like engine or something? Back in the day. Anyway, although I was watching, I watched Rush last week, I think it was, and they were talking about tyres then as well, and I thought, do you know what? Some things really haven't changed. What's everyone's opinion?
It was different, wasn't it? It was different back then because they were pushing the limits and the boundaries at the time. Nowadays, it's like it's creating it for a purpose of a show and a spectacle. And I think that's the difference. It's like man-made now, if you know what I mean. Man-made entertainment, whereas manufactured entertainment. Sorry, whereas back in the day, that was how it was, So I think that's the difference.
Everyone's opinions on Rush, just randomly.
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Sorry.
Jesus
Call
Christ.
yourself fans?
I don't have the time.
I am gonna get.
I haven't seen it either, to be fair, but yeah.
Wow, Lee. Owning at us.
I have downloaded, but I haven't watched it yet.
I might spoil the ending for some people.
I hear there's a big crash at some point, so...
Yeah. Now, if you know the history of the sport, you know the film anyway.
That's true. Although, I must say that you can really... Maybe it's because of the unrealistic camera angles that they use in the film, but I was just constantly going, it's CGI, it's CGI, it's CGI. It's a good film, but I was like, CGI, all the way through, being all angry at Elf. The other half was like, cool cars. Yes, that's a very good point. Never mind. Ben Horrell? nearly crashing, coming into the pit lane there for Red Archer. That's no good. So, sorry, go for it, Jordan.
That's another drink for Thomas.
Ah, yes, this fabled drinking game. How does?
I wish we never came up with it.
How is everyone doing?
Fine.
Yeah, what is this about? Because someone mentioned it in my stream last week, and I had no idea what people were going on about.
We thought it'd make pre-season testing more interesting if we played a drinking game.
Everyone was willing me to crash so that someone could have a drink.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And I did crash, and someone got slaughtered. So.
Well, Lewis got
silly
slaughtered yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't a good idea to then do the test races after it.
That was enjoyable.
But you know, what can you do?
You can't stay in a straight line.
The worst drinking game possible is to do when watching Antiques Roadshow. And whenever they say veneer, that's it. You have to have a drink. I ended up in Casualty once. It was terrible.
You'll have to come play ours sometime, Lee. We've even got Dave involved, and he doesn't drink.
He does now.
Yeah, now he does.
Actually, whilst I just quickly go and grab another drink, Lewis, would you like to take the helm for 30 seconds or so?
On what?
Ask a random
Ask someone a question.
Although, if it is, what's your favourite flavour of ice cream, I will do you for a lack of originality.
I have a question for Jordan, actually.
Go on.
Jordan.
Yes.
Have you worked on your engine downshifting techniques this year? Because obviously engines are all important, now we have to do more than one race on an engine.
No.
So you haven't changed your style or anything like that?
Nope. Nothing at all.
Lucas. Are you still there? He's probably not here.
I'm here.
I don't even know what I was going to ask you, I just thought I'd say your name.
Thank you.
Lee, are you still doing SRZ after this? After last week's, well, quite frankly, tragic display of driving on their part?
I'm very, very tempted not to this week.
I can't blame you.
I just do not want to. The atmosphere is terrible, and that is one reason. I mean, I did say today in my stream, yeah, you probably heard it, how... I mean, I'm probably not the most liked person in GPV, but, you know, for some things I've said about the league in the past, but I tell you what, after racing there this season, GPV is like... It's honestly, I just can't wait to get started. I've enjoyed the testing so far, the chats, the streams, you know, stuff like that. And after like you said, the shambles of the last race, it's like GPV I think really will be a good league this year to be in because it's well administrated and so on, it's well run, and also considering like where FSR's going and things like that, we're seeing a lot more drivers come over to GPVWC, like Baldi, people like that, you know, the top names.
Which is obviously good. Yeah, FSR's gone. Roy, are you still here?
Yeah, I am.
How much is the Woods curse going to be affecting you this year?
I'm very scared for it.
Have you already experienced it? Because I had it in my first race for Woods. I think just everyone goes through it.
I haven't had it yet, so but I'm really having nightmares of it. So
yeah. I can't blame you. Okay, you can take control now, Smithy. Because I've run out of questions for people.
They were very good though. They were very good questions.
Yeah, very good. All brilliant.
You can replace Simon.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go that far.
Definitely not.
Stick to driving.
Smithy, though, what is your favourite flavour of ice cream?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not you moo, which I put on Facebook. No wonder they're all reduced to £1 to get rid of the stock.
What do you have though?
Frozen
if you're going to have an ice
yogurt.
cream, what's your flavour?
User was moved to your channel.
I would go for... before I answer that question, there is a really random shop in London, and I can't remember what it was called, but they have really weird flavours of ice cream, like bacon flavour.
Oh.
And things like that. And you buy them out of pure curiosity, and some of them taste quite nice. Some of them, you just think, why did I buy that? But, yeah. It's all rather random. We do have, what is my favourite flavour of ice cream?
Yeah,
I'd
go on.
say the cherry Bakewell flavour from Asda.
Oh.
It's nice.
I was
What
hoping
about you?
mint choc. Mint choc, no, it's not.
Yeah, I agree.
Chocolate's fine for me.
Mint chocolate.
As long as it's sugar-free.
Sugar-free ice cream?
Mmm.
What's the point of that?
Better for you.
If you're having ice cream, you might as well just die properly with it.
Oh, pretty right.
He says, opening up a packet of Rolos. We are joined, though, by the smoothest man ever in terms of vocal cordage, Mr. Tom Vandervoort.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but thanks anyway.
I would.
No, you would.
I'd go all the way. But, how was your testing today, and how are you finding the 2014 car so far?
Testing today was, apart from a bit of screwing around with Ben Horrell, horrible. Because I put on the options in the first stint by accident. So I was way down on my target lap counter, so I had to sandbag all the way through on my prime stint, going as far as just having a puncture in the last lap, but things like that happen. It's over now, so I don't have to care about it anymore.
How are you feeling about the Melbourne race ahead? Because you had a very, very strong start to 2013, he was doing very, very well, and then you've had a spate of mini disasters, and you've been able to recover on the off-season. What are you thinking about for 2014 and how you're going to get going?
Let's hope it's not the same way as last year, because qualifying was great, and then I blew up my engine with like 2 laps to go, so I hope that's happening again. Other than that, I feel more prepared now than any other race last season. So, in terms of like being prepared to race and everything, it should be fine, but obviously we have no idea what the rest of the field is going to do. I have no idea what the general pace is. I think I'm quick, but you know, next thing happens, you're 2 seconds off the pace.
Excellent stuff. Cheers, Lee. Sorry, off you go, and enjoy and good luck for the rest of the 2014 season.
Yeah, cheers, catch you later.
I'm just leaving everyone in here for no particular reason, but you can all join in and ask and do stuff, I don't mind. Especially whilst I'm eating chocolate. Do you have a quick question for Jordan, actually?
Go on.
Whilst we're here. Someone just tweeted in, do you love spit roasts?
I know who sent that that message. Was it Ryan, by any chance?
Oh, Ryan Walker's back, everyone.
I couldn't possibly comment.
It has to be Ryan. Who else could it be?
I will name him only the Kilted Wonder. Anyway. Sorry, Swallow Simon. Oh, it's not the first time I've heard that.
Oh God.
It's Tom. He ruins me. Well,
it's me, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm making you nervous.
Not really. I'll be making you nervous if we meet in Manchester.
Ooh, that's going to be nice.
You'll be constantly on the other side of whatever group, like, meeting that's going on. Stay away from the fat one.
Oh, you don't know. When there's alcohol in my system, strange things happen.
Uh-oh. That's called full moon problem. Now, you've got the same teammate this year as well, haven't you, Mr. Heaster Beakage?
Yes, he is.
Is that the second or the third year of your partnership?
This is the second. I've known him from another league, but I've never really been his teammate there, so obviously I started last year here at GPVWC, so second league of us actually working together, but I've known him for quite some while now.
And how important is it to have that continuity so that you've got the same person that you're working with and that you can continue to build a relationship? Or does that kind of make you even more determined to beat him this time round again?
It didn't really matter whether he was in the same team or not, but having him completely serving my ass to me last year really made me think, like, what am I going to do to beat this guy? And I really, really need to beat him at least once, because that never happened last season. Not a single race have I finished in front of him, so it needs to happen. And whether he's my teammate or not, it needs to happen, and rather be sooner than later. Having him as a teammate for the second year, I don't think there will be much difference to the way we're working together. It went all right. I mean, last season. Not like we just everything that happens in a race, but the main things like swapping setups and talking about where you're fast, where you're slow, what do you need help with, like things like that. But it wasn't an intense relationship, and to be perfectly honest, I don't suppose it's going to be like that this year. But it might be good, we got the team to second place last year mainly because of what Ruud accomplished. I was just there, but I want to be a bigger part of it now. I just want to get the podium, and if it's possible, get a win. But with a field this strong, it's gonna be a really, really, really hard mission to get that.
We all definitely wish you all the best, as we do wish everyone all the best. Quick questions come in for Lewis.
Oh no!
Can I talk to you about your pre-season peer pressure at Nürburgring?
Was this from Ben Warren?
It may well have been.
Yeah.
I really wonder.
It was during the testing for Nürburgring, and basically said to Ben, could you drive one-handed? Because obviously Ben uses the sort of clutch paddles on a real F1 car steering wheel for throttle and brake, so he's got the right one for the throttle and left one for brake. So we said, could you try and drive one-handed? And he was doing fine, and he was actually doing quite well, and then he came to the hairpin at Nürburgring and didn't brake because he just, for some reason, just didn't bother and just went straight off into the wall in the slowest accident we've ever seen. And from now on, it's just known as Ben's peer pressure. Poor guy. We broke him, really.
Oh dear.
We cost Woods about £3,000 just because we asked him to drive with one hand.
That's
but,
one.
That's what you got to do.
That's an expensive hand job.
It is all I'm going to say. Yeah. I'm sure you pay more for some though, Smithy.
Nah. I wouldn't pay that for that.
Not even from Vanderbilt.
No.
Not even if I ask like really nice.
Not even if you was bound and gagged on your knees in front of me. £2,500.
Yeah, £2,500. Free's just pushing it a little bit.
A little bit. Bargain bucket.
So
I've heard. Okay. So, who have we still got? We've still got Roy, we've still got Tom, we've still got Lewis, we've still got Dave, we've still got Si, and we've got Jordan on mutage. Is there anything else that you would like to bring up yourselves for a little mini discussion? I've kind of steered all the questions, but you're more than welcome to have a inter-league discussion yourselves.
That's a hard one.
What can we talk about?
Well, if you like, I tell you what, actually, as a random question, do you all get together to talk about the league in general?
Oh yeah.
Talk about engines.
I mean, like, not bitching about or bitching about the racing.
We have a nice big Skype chat where we got most people involved from the league, and it goes off topic a bit, but we always, it's not like, I mean, I talk to Tom sometimes about racing. It's not like because he's in a different team we can't talk at anything. So we're all still talking to each other despite being in different teams and competing. Else it just wouldn't be much fun.
One of the best things I think about GPVWC from my point of view is the community aspect of it, actually. And if you do fancy joining in on the action, pop over to gpvwc.com and sign yourselves up. You can be a team boss and home your own drivers and get them all in, or you could race out on track yourself. And I do believe there's a few jobs behind the scenes to help out. I don't know, Dave, if you're about, if there's anything, any particular spaces you're looking to fill at the moment?
Well, anything and everything, really. We've got a batch of people that we're going to assign to certain things probably next week, in terms of helping out with the review and...
was moved to your channel.
That was Lucas. Helping out with the review and decision making on incidents, and obviously we've got commentators like yourself, race reports they need doing, of course. So anything like that, if you can contribute in any way, drop us a PM. We'll see if we can get you assigned to something. Help us out.
Lots of people that make the cogs turn here at the league, which is now pretty much undisputedly the primary league evers. And don't forget, if you quite fancy a little bit of the old Espanol and you like a bit of paella, we have a Spanish version of the website. I can't get over the fact that we've got a Spanish version. No. Makes me trollolols all the way home.
Yeah, name one Spanish driver that's in the league as well.
There's someone called Villa, isn't there?
There must
or
be
Javier.
one.
Javier someone.
We have it somewhere.
We
have 19 new
Is
in Spain.
Positive Sim Racing. We have a Spanish team new to Super Cup. There you go.
Alvarez, he's Spanish.
Yeah.
Carlos Lopez.
There's a Lopez.
There's a lot on this list that don't drive, but signed up on the forum.
Aww.
Who needs them anyway? If it ain't Dutch, it ain't much.
Oh, not that again.
Gotta have a bit of pride in your home country.
Yeah.
And no wins without fins.
I can't even compete with any of that. Who's Jack Wemmus?
Wemos.
I don't know.
Was he is he a Spanish user?
I don't know. He's just asked a question in the Vanderbilt Rex of the UK.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's a date in the diary. Anywho. Well, we've just come up to the last half an hour of this test session / talk show. I just feel like we're missing the pregnant teenager. Maybe Tom, you can supply that. And and the I'm so obese that I've had to be cut out of my house. I suppose I could bring that. My drug addiction has brought my family to their knees, Jordan.
Chicken addiction has brought his family to his knees.
Chicken addiction.
Okay.
Why do you eat so much chicken, Jordan? There's a question.
I like it.
Aww.
Lewis can be the posh, spoiled brat.
I'm not posh.
Yes.
You are.
Crimey Jimmy
I'm
Chooks.
really not.
You are.
Oh, I'm so not.
Get G's onto it.
Yeah.
Like, you're drinking tea with your pinky up.
That's the way you're supposed to drink it.
See, you're posh.
It doesn't mean you're posh, it just means it's the way you're supposed to drink it.
Grab a mug with your full hand and chug it down.
You drink frozen tea, or iced tea, or whatever it's called. Well, I don't even know what that is.
Tea.
What is iced tea, Tom?
It's cold tea, basically.
Why would you want cold tea? I don't.
Why would you want warm tea?
Because it tastes nicer.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
Biscuit into it.
What's it with you in hot drinks?
I don't know. Don't
Is
like
there not one hot drink you like?
I think the biggest question
I
actually.
have to say I'm the same.
Not a single. No, not
biggest-
one I can think of.
The biggest question I think at the moment is, I know he's listening, is when's Ryan Walker going to win a race again?
Oh wow.
Oh.
Whenever he takes part in a career ladder event, I imagine.
Dangerous territory.
Don't
He
worry.
has won a race. It needs to be pointed out, he did win a race in 2011 in Super Cup, so he has actually won one.
Morton's just said on the stream chat, Danish Dynamite.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I like that.
Where's Petter? Does he not want to come in for a little chat?
Don't know, but we have got David Fidek
Ah.
for CSG, and you've been busy cranking in the old Laparoos. How's it been for you, Dave?
I am sweating buckets. I didn't know if you saw me go flat through turn 8 then at like 70 miles an hour in 7th gear, but yeah. The G on my neck now is killing.
Those upgrades worked though, didn't they?
No, not for me. No.
Oh, they didn't.
A rabbit
You
ran
probably didn't
past
turn
me at
them
one
off.
point.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Interesting though.
So, obviously, you've had a wild time during turn 8, and so on and so forth. Only David Junk currently in a server at the moment. He's sitting in the pits. Pop out and do a lap, mate. How have you integrated yourself? Obviously, new into the team. You've done a couple of races for Midnight last year. Impressed very well. Obviously, enough to get yourself a full-time drive for 2014. How are you finding a 2014 car? How are you finding CSG? And also, how are you adapting to being a full-time driver this year?
Well, I'm adapting to the team well. Yeah, me and Lewis are best buds.
Yeah.
Dave's
Cuddles.
just, he sits in the corner, orders about.
Oh yeah.
does his thing, puts pressure on us for no
Make
reason.
spreadsheets.
Yeah, spreadsheets. Do this lap, do that lap. But yeah,
Do all this.
it's all cool.
Don't go fast.
We got the chance to go fast.
We do.
Yeah, the car's good. It suits me better than last season's. Fight the curbs more and attack the entry and yeah, it's all going well so far. I think pretty close on times. I'll put him to shame in Australia, hopefully, but
Microphone activated.
We'll see. It's going well.
So you're sounding decidedly a lot more upbeat than your team boss and your teammate. They've been very, very reserved this evening on exactly where they think they're going to be.
Yeah.
You're sounding like you're just going to throw all the testes at it.
Well, they've given targets. Well, Dave has, saying like, don't get too excited on points. But I'm just like, accidents happen in the field, and like, especially Australia. So I reckon we could get a sniff of points in Australia. I'd love to get a top 10, and like be consistently in the points for the first few rounds, and quickly build the car up. I mean, Flo's going to be, Florian is going to do a lot for the R&D points, obviously. So with his skills, we can build a car quickly, I reckon. But yeah, I think they're just being the calm side of things, where I just like to be, yeah, let's go.
I was told to be calm.
That's because you're overexcitable.
Oh yeah. Only Monday nights am I overexcitable.
Is that because of ITC?
Yeah. I love watching people make a fool of themselves on that racing series.
Well, Lewis, I think you find it hard to stay calm after what Dave did to you.
Oh, we're not going to do this, Jordan.
Well, excuse me, Lewis, but the only time I've been racing in ITC, I actually got my only podium, so...
You did a very nice job as well.
Yeah.
I'm making congratulating you. No, I didn't say you, I said certain people make fools out of themselves. Jordan, for one.
Now, keep it for the track.
It's a very good series. I'm glad we continue, because I know the GRC series was obviously amazingly popular, especially with yourself, Smithy, commentating on it. So it's great that we've been able to bring people in from other leagues to this series, and then they'll expand into like the career ladder and other series got going on, obviously the Masters, the World GT, and all that. So it's helped the league in a massive way, but it's also allowed a series that was incredibly popular to continue on, which is always great news.
Definitely, I'm a big fan of the tin tops, especially when I used to, in the old formats, you'd have different leagues, and I'd be in the CAC league, and you'd be able to, I'd be able to go and play and race and actually be vaguely competitive in that league, and do a nice job, and then come and commentate for the big guns the next time round. And no, it's great. I'm so glad that it's still going. For Dave, for yourself, actually, David Fiduk, that is. Because there's two Daves in the room. I didn't realise until I said Dave.
Only one matters.
Call all the register.
There's Dave, and then there's Dave.
Yeah. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Are there any particular tracks or anything that you're specifically looking forward to this year? Because you didn't get to race on all of them last.
No, all of them. Yeah. There's tracks I don't go so well at, like Australia and Budapest, so I want to prove myself good on them, but apart from that, I just love driving all the tracks. So they all give different challenges, don't they? So yeah, I just love attacking the circuits and trying to do my best on them.
Great stuff. David Junt just out, still completing a couple of laps in the Nijo, thankfully providing us the last bit of on track action as we start to wind down this broadcasting session for the test today. Any words of wisdom, because you finally made it into the big time here on GPVWC? Woo, woo, woo. That's why you've got all the exclamation marks after your name. Anything that you would say to people who are looking at getting up the ladder, trying to get into the ladder? Any words of wisdom or advice you could give?
Well, if you're in Formula Challenge, then just stay out of the way of people. Because there's a lot of mobile chicanes, and not many of them like to give you any room. But apart from that, it is good racing. Race 2 was great fun. So just be consistent, play safe, and then you'll slowly get recognised. That's all you can do, really, isn't it? One day your chance will come, like mine did, and I just heard myself back on the stream. I didn't realise I had it on. Hey, yeah, just be yourself. In each race, your chances will come, take them with both hands, and you'll slowly move up.
Good stuff. Bit of hard work, a little bit of believing in yourself, and a little bit of going for it is sometimes the best thing. Okay, thank you very much, Roy, for joining us. There, you're dispersing.
Bye, Roy.
Bye, Roy.
User disconnected from your channel.
And thank you very much to David Fidok. And I will now say Fido, as in Fidok, because I called you Fidok for the entire of last year and for the start of this broadcast, so I do apologise.
You got it right now?
Fidok?
Dave still hasn't. Dave still calls him Fidok because he just doesn't believe in it being Fi.
It just... it needs to have an extra eye or something in there. 2 eyes for the price of 1. But anyway, thank you very much, and best of luck for 2014 for your first full-length season in Super League. I look forward to seeing exactly how you progress and do, and of course with the CSG team, the new Target team that's coming in, and the new Vodball, who we didn't have a chance to chat to particularly today, but I can assure you they're definitely there and on the grid, and we're going to have some fantastic 26, 28, 26 drivers. 28. I knew it got up to 28, and then I thought, don't just say it, Simon. You don't know for sure. So it got to 28. Cool. So biggest field ever's, and really looking forward to it. So thank you to David. Thank you to Jordan, who joined us earlier on as well. He's still in the room. Thanks to Lucas, who stayed around, actually. I think that needs a little round of applause going on. Seal. And lots of people did ask questions, actually. So Lucas clearly is an internet star. Internet fame's better than real fame.
I feel left out now.
And thank you very much to Tom Vandy Vu. I was getting to you, mate. You was at the bottom of the list, though.
I didn't get any questions, though.
I'm going to ask you lots of questions
last year.
in private later.
Oh, please do.
Makes it all the,
wow.
makes it all the better.
Oh, wow.
Boo. What are you mainly looking forward to doing when you get to Manchester?
Get drunk, have fun.
Will you be celebrating a podium considering it's 2 days after the first race of the season?
Well, I'm arriving on Friday, so it's actually 1 day after the first race.
If you have an awful race, I'm coming. Just to see that. I'm not planning to, but if you have an awful race and I beat you, I'm coming to Manchester.
I'll prepare to be punched in the jaw if that's the case, but...
Well, we had a lovely discussion in Amsterdam about, various things that happened last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't throw each other into a canal.
Yeah, something about Canada. I can't remember if ever clearly,
Canada,
but something about Canada.
Brazil.
Something about Brazil, yeah.
Running out of fuel, things like that.
Oh, don't go there.
We got it all in there.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much, Tom. And to Jordan and to Lucas as well. And we'll just run this one down. Thank you also very much to Lewis Redshaw, who's as ever kept me going during a broadcast.
Always happy to help you, Smithy.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you on here because, quite frankly, it's a pleasure to have you here. There we go.
Yeah.
And thank you very much to Dave, who as ever provides amazing league insight and knowledge, because not only does he a team boss, not only does he driven, but also does a lot of the admin side of stuff as well. Thanks also to Will Panisi, who is a bit like the Godfather. We don't see him very often, but when he does, he normally comes in and shoots some stuff about. I was going to say something else then, and I thought, no, don't do it. I've remained vaguely professional today. I'd like everyone to raise a toast and say cheers to me getting a new job, which means I'll be based in London. So,
congratulations.
Hey, I demand everyone have at least one tipple of drink for that.
That's done.
Ding, ding, ding. And don't forget, everyone, you need to start putting these things into your diaries, because we have an amazing end to February for you, because all the seasons are starting from, well, we've got ITC concluding on the 17th of February, haven't we?
Yes.
going to be amazing. That's at Sugo in Japan. Then after that, we've got Tuesday the 25th of February, where Formula Challenge gets underway. Yay! Where you can watch me in my glorious backmarker brigade car come very, very last.
You're going to win. Don't beat yourself down. You're going to win the championship.
I'm going to win it with my collection of wooden spoons that are actually worth 50 points. So Dave's just trying to see if we can get one final quick interview before we go. Then on the 26th, we have Super Cup, which I have to say I don't know the ins and outs of, like a cat's buttock, but I know it has provided a plethora of awesome on-track action. And then you can join myself back in the commentary booth to kick off 2014 GPVWC Super League in amazing style, 27th of February from about 7:30-ish BST. Not
GMT.
GMT, BST, whatever it is. Think it'll be
UTC.
UTC?
Yeah.
WHD? WD40?
Sometime after 6 p.m.
Yeah. Because I'll pop in. I'll pop along at some point. It's all good. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll have games. We'll have enjoyments and amusements. And I can't wait. Melbourne is coming close, and we appear to be starting the season about a month before the real one. So that's quite good.
We'll have much prettier cars as well.
Oh God, what do you make of these bizarre nose cones?
I think we'll get used to it, but they just look awful, don't they?
I remember when the cars changed and they looked like someone had sat on them a little bit, and I didn't like them particularly. And I have got used to the way how they looked over time. It's amazing how everyone goes, ah! And then after about 3 races, you're like, oh, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah, it's just what happens, isn't it?
To me, the not McLaren, the Mercedes and the Ferrari look perfectly fine. It's just the ones with the Dave's products on the front.
Object. Yeah, phallic object.
And I'm waiting patiently to see what this Lotus looks like.
I don't know if it'll ever materialise if they've got so much of a blimmin' cash issue. Although I keep reading that they just owe it to themselves, so I don't really see why it's such an issue. Just pay yourself back. Money. Yeah. Oh. The wonders of finance, and if you're a team boss, you'll definitely know that for GPVWC. So, that just leaves me to say thank you ever so much for tuning into this amazingly informative pre-season testing. David Junt is going to be the last person who will be completing his laps. We're going to sign off early because he's coming right to the end of his sections now. And thank you ever so much. We will look forward to seeing you on the 17th for ITC, and then from the 25th, 26th, and most importantly the 27th of February to kick off the 2014 seasons in style. Take care, and we'll see you then.